The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, this is another episode of the ModernJeeper Show with me, Matson from Metal Cloak, and Mr. Modern Jeeper, Corey Osborne.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, and Rockstar Jeep Girl, Jessy. I am like such in the giddy mode right now. Where are you guys at?
We are just above Buffalo, New York, in a little place called Niagara Falls.
Oh, how romantic.
Yeah, right? It's it's interesting. It's we're heading to the ADK Jeep Invasion, and we had about an extra day. And I didn't realize, I'd actually never been here before. I didn't realize how close we were to Niagara Falls. And literally, instead of making turn off and heading straight east, it's a little north. It's different. It's not what I expected.
So in other words, you're showing up at a place, checking things out, paying 3 times the price for hotel rooms, but you get to see a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Not to be cynical or anything.
No, it's really amazing. It's a great place, and I think everybody should visit. And we walked around just briefly. We had like about an hour and a half before the podcast started to kind of cruise around and see what's what. But for some reason, I had it in my mind that we were going to be at the bottom of the falls, and we were going to pull up to an area that had a cliff and watch the water come down the falls. No, you're on top, and the water goes off into a hole.
Well, that's why that's compelling, like, desire to jump or for people to go over the falls, right? Because you're up there looking down.
You're already at the top.
And you can literally spit on Canada.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Canada's like, yeah.
You can reach out and go.
So did you?
No, I didn't spit. I waved at everybody.
Well,
I want to go over to Canada. I need to get a stamp in my passport.
Canadian stamp.
Are
you even allowed to?
Because
you're not.
No.
Are you? No, we're not even allowed to, right?
No, and I was just looking at an article that was talking about that. They're even thinking about continuing the restrictions beyond June 21st. They were going to open the border up, but they're saying that maybe that won't even happen. Canada is they're saying 17% vaccinated, whereas the US we're at like 50% now or something.
Well, California, this is the day. Today is the day we've all been waiting for. Today was the day that we're going to be saved because June 15th was opening up. We're going to open up the state. Fantastic. And yeah, I walked into a taco shop without a mask on today. I felt liberated, but no, not really. Nothing's changed.
It's funny because we just left Bantam, of course, and we never saw any masks, and yet in Erie, which was an hour away from Bantam, things are still closed. Mask mandates on the doors. You got to be vaccinated. Okay. Well, we were just with a few thousand people, and it wasn't a problem. Apparently, at gas stations, that's a problem.
Well, this whole thing's crazy. But I think at least we're kind of at this end where we're looking at it and just everybody can joke about it because I think everybody's in the same mindset. Occasionally you meet somebody who's still like super able to protect it. Like,
oh yeah,
gotta be covered, gloves,
There's
everything.
Still a lot of those people.
But for the most part, I think people are over it.
We were talking to some folks that were here from Maryland and Delaware, and she said that Delaware, it's like a giant party, and I mean, I'm just like, really? Because now it's all open. So we went from super, super secure to everything's totally fine now. And it's, mass party.
Mass. Unprotected faces, unprotected sex. It's all
unprotected faces.
Unprotected faces.
What's going on in the world?
I'm sorry.
If they only knew.
My mind is going down a path right now of things I just simply cannot say on a family-friendly show.
All right.
Yeah, well, I know we have a great guest this week, and we're still kind of a little bit delirious after the Jeep Heritage Festival, and we have a bunch of information to put together after that. And in the back of our minds, we're still working on Tillamook. We're still working on the Rubicon. We're still working on Colorado Adventure. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. And so, and while it's on the top of my mind and we're kind of already talking about it, I think that I should probably just throw my little rant. It's just a small rant.
It's not time for rants yet. Yeah,
I know, but I don't think we're going to have time because we have a great guest.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief break from this like normally scheduled BS session to have Corey's rants. You're on.
You know, and this has actually been a very good week. There hasn't been a whole lot of stuff that's really bugged me, but it does have to do with we're in this environment of a lack of service. We're getting less service. We're paying more. I'm kind of confused by the whole thing. When you stay at a hotel and you don't get house cleaning anymore, but the rates have gone up like 20%. So we're paying more, getting less. I just don't understand. And I actually heard on the news this morning, they were talking about the things that people were wanting to get back to had to do with going for walks and smelling flowers. Now, to me, that seems like we've used the pandemic as an excuse to not do those things. And now that we're going to get back to normal, we're going to get to go for a walk again. Well, guess what? You could have always gone for a walk. You could have always gone and smelt flowers. No.
The flowers could transmit COVID.
No flowers. I didn't know.
It's been proven.
I didn't know.
Follow
it's just
the
really.
So does that mean
you don't see scientists out walking around smelling flowers? So we shouldn't do it.
And there are how much percentage vaccine?
Only 17%.
So that means that everybody out here should be wearing masks because air is flowing this way.
Yeah, the wind's blowing from the Canadian border across.
Well, if I was the Canadians, I'd be spitting out towards the U.S. just to transfer fluid. Be spitting at you guys. All you Americans.
Well, everybody's standing in line for what, the Queen of the Mist or
the little boat that gets you wet
that you go down in, and the security guards standing out front because everybody's still wearing masks. Like, oh, it's over with. You can take your mask
there was a security guy telling everybody it's all over. You don't have to wear a mask anymore. And people were like, oh, and taking their masks off. And, yay.
So this would be like there needs to be like a graduation ceremony. Like we all need to be out on the lawn of the state capitol. We should have been on the lawn of the state capitol today, throwing our masks up high.
You mean burn piles? Burn piles.
I can see them all hanging from trees.
That would be considered medical waste. Can't do that. Yeah. I just went and saw my neurologist today. Check up after that surgery a couple years ago, and it's heartwarming when he says, yeah, I'm getting tired of this thing. Like, I wear a mask all day, every day for my job, right? Mm-hmm. I shouldn't have to be wearing it at the checkout counter of my local Rayleigh's supermarket. Yeah. It's just dumb. Yeah. Well, so from here, so you go ADK. So what is ATK going to be like? What is this event going to be like? What have you heard? What's the whole scuttlebutt on ADK?
I know that it's going to be a vendor show for a couple of days. I don't know that there's any formal organized trail rides, but there's some good vendors. Our friends at Globex, Mr. Nadell is going to be one of the I think he's one of the title sponsors. And there's about 25 or 30 vendors that I think will be there. And for an event, a first year event, I think that it's going to be fine. New York is still, it was a lot of work, I know, for Jamie and these guys to put this event together. And there's a lot of waivers that we have to sign and things like that. But I think it's going to be a good event. Again, everywhere we go, people want to get out. They want to go do things with their Jeep and they want to talk to their Jeep family. So, yeah, we'll see.
Their Jeep family. That's nice. Their Jeep family. Jeep family. Not just Jeep friends. We're Jeep family.
Jeep family. That's
Jeep
right.
Family. Well, it'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to hearing about it afterwards. You mentioned Tillamook. Obviously, we're hot to trot on that one. That's just going to be coming up here. Gosh, very quickly.
Very quick.
Yeah, I've got stuff to do to the RV because I have to replace the one AC unit and had somebody cut through the chain link fence out here at Metal Cloak and break a window on the door of the RV, which was always fun when that happens. Those fun people. Got the guy in camera too, and the cops missed him by literally 30 seconds. They were walking with their flashlights up and he saw the flashlights and ran. And he left all his stuff, which of course was, I think we mentioned this in a previous podcast.
Yeah, like everything he owned, he left.
Yeah, exactly, including his big bag of weed. I had a bunch of playing cards or whatever, like little collectible cards. So yeah, who knows? I shouldn't say everything he owned. It's probably everything he stole that night.
I was gonna say
this was his. They were in his shopping bags. This is what he had lifted that evening. Yeah, great people. Love them. Gotta love great people.
So For Low magazine came out.
Oh yes.
Yeah. How are they doing?
Oh, they're great.
Yeah.
Yours truly has an article on print.
Nice.
So Jessy's first printed article, and it was regarding some Jeep Beach stuff.
The next issue in a couple of months, I'll have the Death Valley article up.
Yep, should be a Death Valley print article, and
that's
shout
great.
out to
Congratulations. It's a big deal when you get that first printed article. That's awesome. And so, what issue is that? That's currently out. What month is it? Is it?
It's the
June?
It's the June
details,
July issue.
People, details.
Yeah, they're 6 month a year issues, so they do it every 2 months.
2 months,
so.
Yeah. Nice. 6 months a year. Jeez.
Right.
Right. So yeah, actually I was just thinking about that when you guys were in the hotel room and trying to find a place to sit. I was like, you need to do like the 4 Low episode where they were hanging out on the bed. Right. They did that. They did. In fact, that was the first time we had anybody actually doing video. Remember that? Like we were doing video.
That's right.
They did video. We were doing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And of course the audio sucked because nobody told me that they couldn't hear me. Nice. So I was just in R&D looking at some new stuff for some new ARS platforms that we're doing, made out of aluminum, and some really good clamping strength and some other fun stuff. So that was cool. And all those things. Saw Uncle Dell came by today, pick up some new Rocksport shocks for his TJ. It was good seeing him. He's been doing a lot of fishing lately. And
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so it was good to see him. It's been a while. Yeah, he was checking in on Tillamook, make sure we're all good, since Tillamook was kind of his creation back in the day. So it was good to have him come on by and say hi. Well, there's a lot of fun stuff happening out here, but you guys don't like listening just me and Corey and Jessy ranting the whole time. You actually like to have it sometimes when we have a guest. And it's one of those interesting things in the world when you can have somebody who's a friend out there who has in some cases, life-changing events happen. We've talked with Larry McRae and how he built a poison spider, and then it moved on. Well, a couple of weeks ago, in fact, we've kind of been slacking on ModernJeeper.com because we didn't actually post these articles to share with all you guys. But there were a few acquisitions. We did talk about it last week, though, that there were a couple big acquisitions. One, Warren with FabTech. And then Bestop acquiring sPOD. So today's guest is John. Hey, John from I'm not even going to use your name. I'm just going to say sPOD guy because that's all you're known for. But it is John Angelastro.
There you go.
Yeah. Welcome to the ModernJeeper Show, John.
Thank you.
Welcome, John.
It's awesome.
So I've known you. It is one of the things. I've known John for a while just from the industry. But I remember one day hanging out at, we were in the bar when over at Pete's memorial service. Remember that years ago?
Yeah.
And it was at that moment I realized how much you were embedded in this industry, even though you weren't part of the industry for so long because of all the friends you had there and, 20, 30, 40 years of wheeling.
Oh, yeah.
It was incredible to listen to you guys tell the stories of just, of back in the day and all these adventures you guys have been on, that I'm sitting there in awe because I'm like, yeah, I missed out on all that fun. Especially being NorCal and you SoCal guys having all the fun. But it's a pleasure to have you. It's been a pleasure to hang out with you and learn from you. And I'm just glad we finally get to get on the show. And I don't know why we didn't get you on the show before, other than having this impetus moment of you now, congratulations, selling your company.
Let me check my calendar,
Right.
My schedule. That's awesome.
So tell us, congratulations for selling the company.
Oh, thanks.
Tell us how that all came about.
Well, it just caught us off guard. We've been running this business close to 16 years now, and just something we started.
Wow, has it been that long?
Garage. Yeah, close to 16 years. Been Jeepers for over 40, but yeah, we've always made stuff for our Jeeps, and you used to buy, you couldn't buy everything out of a catalog back then, so you just fabbed up your own stuff, so, and then one thing led to another, and here's sPOD. But yeah, we'd been approached before by companies that were interested in us, but we just weren't inspired to sell. Cindy and I, the business is running good. We grew it at our pace, and things are going really good. And if somebody's going to approach us, it had to be a good match. I'm not going to hand off my life work to somebody who doesn't have that same inspiration that we have. But so yeah, we were approached by Desktop, and they're interested in seeing if we were wanting to sell the company. We said, well, we haven't thought about it really. Everything's fine over here. And they said, well, if it's something you're interested in, let us know. So we had a little family get together and talk about it, and said, let's see what they got to offer. Maybe timing's right. Our lease is getting ready to come up, and in April, and just a lot of things were just lined up. Wife and I, Cindy, we turned 63, and things are going good. A lot of grandkids and stuff, and let's see what they have to offer. And they came out and promised us that we want to carry on the legacy of your company. We don't want to change anything. We like the way it's working. It works for you guys. It worked for us, and that's all she wrote. And it was just like 3.5 months of some crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. It was fun though. Good learning experience, and we're still here. We'll be around for a while. And Cindy and I are we're consulting back, and my son and the crew are staying with the company, and see where it goes from there. But yep, things are still run as normal, business as usual. They said don't change a thing. Whatever you guys are doing is working. Our supply chain's good. We're not back ordered on anything. We ship every day. So somehow we're keeping track, keeping our supplies coming in. And we got a wide range of stuff. If it's sheet metal, mold injected machine parts, wire harnesses, electronic components, it's pretty tough right now. Lead times going way out there, so we're able to keep them coming in. It just takes a lot of work. But
John, I'm curious where the name came from.
Yeah.
So, when I first made my first switch pan, I picked up a 2003 Rubicon back in 2004. And of course, I started doing modifications on it. So the first modification was to add an onboard air compressor. I added a Viair compressor to it, and couldn't find a place to put a switch. So I just started looking around. I finally just found a knockout and put a switch in there. Then I ended up having to add some other things, and couldn't find a place to put a switch panel. So I just looked around. I took one of those like feeler gauge things, and I found a spot up between the windshield frame, and measured it, modeled it up, laser cut it out, formed it out in the shop, and put it up on the up on my windshield frame. It seemed to fit, and loaded up with switches, wired up my stuff, drove into my friend's shop a couple weeks later, and he goes, "Hey, did you install your compressor?" I said, "Yeah, sure I did." And he goes, "Where'd you put your switch?" I said, "Oh, I made this panel." He goes, "Whoa, dude, where'd you get that from?" I made one. I said, "I made an extra one if you want it." So one thing led to another, and a friend of mine, somebody I've been wheeling with for many, many years, I gave him one. He goes, "Hey, John, why don't you call this thing sPOD?" I go, "Why?" He goes, "Switch power on demand." I go, "All right, cool. I'll take it."
Switch power on demand. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. So with the small s, and that's kind of how it came about. But yeah, it was all like serendipity. Yeah. Kind of fun.
That's some of the best company stories come from that. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. And even how the whole thing started, it's been kind of cool. But yeah, it's really definitely a fun ride. It's one of those two American things, those dreams. If you stay steadfast, you could really, make headway and make it somewhere.
Well, as I understand it, you were still like full-time employee at a day job just until recently, right?
Yeah. So this September will be 3 years. I worked as a mechanical engineer for a precision sheet metal company for 37 and a half years. Yeah, long time.
Wow.
And Cindy couldn't get me to leave there. I go, "No, why? I love my job here." So one day she says, "All right, John, it's Friday. I'm coming in. If you don't tell Gunner that you're leaving, I'm going to come here and tell him for you." Oh, shoot. So I got up enough, courage to go in there and ask his daughter and him if I could have a talk with him. Went to their office and sat down. I said, well, I'm going to give my notice. I'm going to be leaving the company. They just went like this, had a big giant smile on their faces. And all of a sudden it felt like an elephant just lifted off. And he said, John, that's great. This is perfect. And, they still make all our considered sheet metal parts, of course, but he said, absolutely do it, and he said, if you ever need your job back, you're more than welcome to come back here. And yeah. And then Cindy left her job at Princess Cruises for about 14 years. And she was running it, and it was just, kind of hard. Both of us run, back and forth between our normal jobs and then this job and shipping out of the house. And we finally got a building, and she took it on full time. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Started out in our living room, then our dining room, then our garage.
Wow. Well, yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. What a great story.
Yeah, thanks.
So wheeling in your history, I mean, like you said, you've been wheeling for 40 years. So let's go back. Let's jump all the way back. What was your first Jeep?
It was a 1978 CJ5. I bought it in 1979. And it was like $2,800, I think it was. Yeah, I drove by and I saw a for sale sign. It was parked at like a Del Taco or something. I can't remember what it was in 1979. And I went up there and asked the guy, I said, hey, you selling these? Because he's a college kid, and I guess his parents bought it for him. He needed money. It just wasn't something for him. I go, how much you want for it? He said like $2,500. I said, dude, I got it. And I was like, I went to my bank, got out my money, and the only thing I had at the time was just a motorcycle. So it was great to get a Jeep. And I bought it from him. And a friend of mine bought a 79 Jeep about a month later, and that's all she wrote. And it just, we've been wheeling, and that was my first Jeep. Then after that, we sold that after putting 354,000 miles on it, and most of it was probably off road. In those days, we'd drive all the way to Moab from here with a pup tent, a wheel for the week, and drive it back. Detroit Rockers, and it was no power steering. We did the Ducey Ocean Trail twice in that CJ5 without power steering. Dude,
wow!
We got back, and he says, "That's it. Put power steering in this." And I just went to a junkyard and bought a power steering box from an AMC Gremlin, and oh man, that was tough.
What was your first mod to the Jeep?
The CJ?
Yeah.
Dude, put RS 9000 gas shocks on it. That was it, and some tires. And
wow.
Really, and back then you could do an add-a-leaf. So there was a spring company in Burbank, Burbank Springs, and bought an add-a-leaf from Dick CPEC. That was the only off-road store there was around, was Dick CPEC. And went there, and that's where we used to spend all of our money, going in there buying tires. The Dick CPEC Fun Country 30.
Oh yeah, the Fun Countries.
Those are great tires. They're real mushy and stuff. They didn't last long, but yeah, that was it. Just add a leaf, and then from then on, it was just we didn't even change gears. I added positive traction, and eventually a winch, and just doing the normal mods to it, building bumpers and stuff like that for it. And then the first onboard air compressor, that was in 1980. I went to a junkyard and found a Gremlin, because last time I was there, I saw a Gremlin with an air compressor, air conditioning unit. So I took the belt and the pulley and everything for like $25, put it in the Jeep, just put a what do you call it? The air filter from a lawnmower on the intake. Took the hose, ran it to a 2.5 gallon tank, and I had an air compressor.
That's awesome.
I used to bring my impact wrench. Used to use a pneumatic drill on. People go, where do you get that air from? So it's just an old York compressor on my engine.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
Really cool. I mean, especially, you think about 1980. I was only 3, so I'm not sure what an air compressor would have been then.
Oh yeah, people were blown away by it. Yeah, it was funny.
Wow.
Yeah, air compressors are like a must have. It's fun. That's the nice thing about Jeeps, just building stuff for them. And I appreciate that. I even have, customers say, hey, I could make that for, I said, that's fine. That's what Jeeping's all about. Of course you can make stuff. And then there's going to come a time when you don't want to make something. There's people that don't have that wherewithal, and they're good at what they do, and they can spend that money on something that somebody's already engineered and done. But that's the nice thing about Jeeps. You can just build crap for it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Well, that's the nice thing about the manufacturer side of things. And I remember I've only been to see you and Cindy once, and I think I was actually with Tim Pellegrino.
Oh, yeah.
Had to have been 7 or 8 years ago, I think.
I think we were in our other building. Yeah, behind.
Yeah. And I remember thinking to myself, yeah, but it's just switches and wiring. And you're showing me stuff that's like in these nice fancy harnesses, and the wires are actually attached correctly. Yeah. And it's nice wire and nice switches. And it was kind of that whole, yeah, sometimes there's a reason you buy the good stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
It didn't start out that way, believe me. It was just a metal panel with switches in it, and that was it. But it didn't start out that way. But yeah, it just evolves. We do a lot of bartering in our close network of friends at Four Wheel. One guy's a Class A machinist, another person's a mechanical engineer, another person's a plumber, and we always barter with each other. Hey man, can you come over and fix my toilet? I'll build you a sheet metal thing for your whatever. So I think it was like the first year into the sPOD's, I got sick of hooking up relays and stuff, because I made this little mount for all the relays and connector wires. It was all right. It was cool. But I was just pissed that there's got to be a better way to do this. So I started drawing out this old napkin sketch, and I called my friend Bob, who's worked at Raytheon. He was an electrical engineer. He goes, "Oh, I'm glad you called me, man. I need this little shield for my TM1 mill, I got in my garage." I said, "No problem. I want to show you something that I got, and see if you could help me out with." Just go down to his house and show him this little paper napkin sketch. He goes, "I don't know, John, putting 6 relays and that." He goes, "Give me a little bit to look at it, and because I didn't understand the way circuit boards work and layers, and I had no idea. I'm a mechanical engineer, sheet metal guy." So he calls me back next day. He goes, "John, I think we can do this. I really do." And it was like a week and a half later, he called me up and said, "Come on down." He gave me a soldering iron. We soldered the first circuit board, which I still have.
Oh,
and
wow.
I ran that in my Jeep for like a year and a half till Cindy got mad at me and told me, "Take that thing out. That's the prototype." Yeah, we used to barter for all kinds of stuff like that, and he helped me out.
Are the new panels and whatnot? Is there any like microchips and stuff like that in there?
So we have quite an arrangement of panels, but we still have the basic, just rocker switches that are just wires that go down to the relay board and control it that way. And then we have full solid state power distribution now. As a matter of fact, we don't even use relays anymore. That's all in the past. It's been about a year and a half, 2 years since we've used relays. So all our power distribution modules are full solid state. And so they can be controlled by conventional standard rocker switches, our HD panel, the touchscreen, and with your phone and things like that.
So does any of this, the whole microchip shortages or anything like that, is any of that affecting you?
Yes, it's very rough. Lucky we do our homework, because we purchase from all American companies, but our PCB manufacturer's got a great broker, and when it comes up, they'll say, "John, we use a common chip throughout 5 of our core components." And we do that on purpose, because you could higher volume, get better price breaks. But there's one chip there's telling me we can't get it. It's looking like 56 weeks. That's a year. We can't do that.
Wow.
What are we going to do? So you just got to do your homework, and you got to pay the price. Sometimes you just got to pay for it, because a lot of the components we use are the same components that are used in the automotive industry. So Ford, Tesla, Samsung, all these guys are using the same components we are. So of course, them being the big guys, they get the priority on deliveries and stuff, and we get what's left over. No, we kept up with it. It's been rough. I even down the silicone for one of my molds, for my mold house. I need 6 gallons of silicone. They said, "No way, 23 weeks, you're not going to get it." I called the manufacturers of silicone. I called everybody. It's just, we don't have the materials, they said. We don't have the help. We don't have the materials to make this. So I ended up finding a Dow Corning type material that works, and I was able to get my 7 gallons or 6.5 gallons to get to them. But man, it's rough. Even plastic, like sheet metal today. Well, the cost of cold-rolled steel, it's went up 100%. You guys know that, dealing with cold-rolled steel. And so we're dealing with all of it, plastic, copper wire, electronic components, sheet metal, machine parts.
I was just I read an article the other day. I did a little bit of an article on ModernJeeper for it, but it talked about Stellantis and where they were in the chip world, and what the analysts are predicting, and right now they're saying 18 months before they get back on top of normalcy. Now they'll be able to get by with making some substitutions and whatnot, but they think this is going to last a bit.
I think it's going to get better sooner than that. I think now the supply chain, especially with the on-time delivery people like Ford and those guys, they are now starting to catch up to them. Once that supply chain gets caught up, I think the chip manufacturers are going to be able to start supplying to the rest of the world. I think it'll happen sooner. We're still reliant on Taiwan for some of these semiconductors. But they are building, there's 3 semiconductor plants being built, $23 billion plants, in New Mexico and in Arizona. So that's a good thing. We're going to start bringing some of that manufacturing back here, which we should.
For sure.
We source everything local here. We try to get every as much as we can, local as we can, all our supplies. Because it's a pain. You get stuck waiting for components coming from overseas. That's a pain in the butt. I mean, even a simple thing like do you guys use Southco latches or screws and things like that? Well, Southco, they're really known for their latches. They're high-end stuff. And we use a simple thumb screw, a press-in 1032 thumb screw in our lids. Also, they've always had long lead times on it. And all of a sudden, during COVID, they said, you know what? You guys aren't going to get them for like another 10 weeks. I go, so we're not going to be able to ship our systems for a stupid thumb screw. So we just had to pull a lot of strings and buy leftovers here and there to hold us off until we got them in. It was just because of the workforce. They're made here, but, people are on unemployment and getting extra checks and stuff. And
that's the crazy thing is a lot of these manufacturers, it's not that they don't have the product. They have the product. They just can't get it to you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, some of them, some can't get it to you, and some just, they don't have workforce to build the stuff, Even down to our boxes, we have a nice colored, what we call our shelf pack box that goes into warehouses, distribution companies. Beautiful color printed. Dude, that was like 14 weeks for cardboard. That's because Amazon, and all the deliveries now, they just sucked up all the cardboard with the toilet paper.
Cardboard suckers.
Right. And that's the hard part when you have a stack of orders and you're waiting for one tiny component to make it all ship. Right? It's not even a significant part. It's one little piece. But it all has to come together. And the more pieces you have, the more it makes it just that much harder, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I'm sure like your bushings and things like that for your suspension, it's just try and get that material.
Right. Yeah, the way things are changing now and more, we were just now starting to add more and more polyurethane parts as polyurethane is getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
One of our mutual friends is out there doing some of the manufacturing for the polyurethane for us because we don't do in-house of that, and it's like trying to get them to deliver, and trying to get them to follow up, and trying to get them to deliver the product. It's like, come on, guys, right? That's no problem. 3 months out, like we're shipping in 2 weeks. We're not 3 months out, so we don't want your. You got to get it.
Yeah, but it's a crazy effect how it has on the whole supply chain,
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll start getting better. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that residual? I think we're seeing more and more, and everybody's pushing. So there's nobody out there that is in our supply chain that says, well, we just don't want to deliver it to you. Right. But when you go down the chain, it's like, well, you ordered 50. Well, they ordered 1,000 to fulfill their inventory. They got 200. Right. Yeah. And you ordered 50 and they're able to allocate 25 to you. Right. So,
yeah. But I think what caught everybody off guard is COVID, and our industry with, off-road industry, whatever, deep parts of just got busy. It was like 2 weeks when we had to put our employees, and all of a sudden, boom,
right,
crazy busy. We just got killed with work, and we're diversified too. I mean, we cover commercial industry, the emergency services, and road work and equipment, all that stuff. But that stuff maintained. It was good, but it was really the off-road industry just went crazy, never slowed down. Yeah,
well, that's great. So talk about your commercial side, because that actually fits well with Bestop's overall vision too, because they have a whole OEM supplier side of the world. So I'm sure that was very attractive to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the Jeep world's great and the off-road is great, and we can make a living from it. But being diversified will help take up the slack if something else gets slower. But our commercial side ranges between street striping equipment, the ones that go out there and lay down all the stripes on the freeways and the highways. There's only 2 companies in the country that build those, and both of them use our equipment to control their visual cameras, their alignment systems, the sprayers and things like that. And they run multiple systems, these big giant freight trucks. Freightliner uses them in their utility trucks for DWP, Edison, road working equipment, and then trailers, like work trailers, even the some of the trailers and equipment that's used on runways and commercial airports. And then another big one that happened during COVID is there's a company that builds vaccination testing trailers. And these guys got a contract to build like 30 or 40 of them. They use 2 of our systems in every one of those trailers, because they can put leveling jacks, all their lighting, their awnings, and stuff like that. So that's a neat little contract. And another good commercial industry is a company that builds these auxiliary power units for de-icing trucks back east. So typically these big ice scraping trucks will sit out on the side of the highway for hours at a time with these big giant trucks idling, wasting fuel, running their heater, their radio equipment, all their lights and everything. And it's just a waste of fuel, and it just messes up the trucks. These guys designed an auxiliary power unit that runs the whole entire truck for 6 hours on its own on batteries. And they use our systems to control that whole thing. And we did like a firmware application for them. It's really bitching. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Yeah, how they use it. So basically anything with a battery. I mean, if you can find something to switch, our system will work.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah, that was appealing to them. And plus our technology that we've got, and the combined technologies that, Baja Designs could, benefit from it, and what we could benefit from their resources too. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, Will here was talking with one of the guys over at Baja Designs and about collaboration time. So it'd be interesting to see how it works together and because they're really at the head of the forefront of technology when it comes to lighting, and you're at the forefront. To have that combined, it's just like it's a perfect symmetry.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really is. It's a great opportunity for 2 companies to get together and come up with some cool stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no end to what you could do with these 2 things, combined together. But that'll be fun. They'll have a good time with it. I think they're all excited over there at Baja Designs. They've been really, really excited about it. So we're still going up and down. It's an emotional thing for us, but it'll be good.
So from an R&D standpoint, how does this work? Because you've been the primary engineer behind your product line.
Yeah. I'm the only engineer.
Right. So you're the engineer, you're developing it, you'll be consulting on it, but are they simply going to have to take over future R&D, or do you have things in the works already and product lines in the works for them?
Yes, both. So yeah, they've got a great R&D department too, especially.
Right.
I just want to put this out there up front now. I'm not an electrical engineer. I know enough to get myself in trouble, so I don't know anything about it. But I do have some great engineers that I've been working with for quite a while. But so we're still in the works. We're with some new product designs, and a lot of it too. The way we design our platform now, a lot of the upgrades are all done via firmware. So we built a foundation that you could build off of with firmware.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, say we come out with something cool, like when we come out with our Pro Series for the race guys, where you could customize just change the system up completely by just downloading this firmware and updating your system with it. So a lot of cool with firmware.
I had no idea. That's incredibly advanced, and it really separates you out from the competition that's out there.
Oh yeah, and what's neat is we started about 2 years ago. Since everything's based on electronics and firmware and stuff like that, we have to program our systems here. We program them and then test them completely, and ship them. What would happen is, let's say we found a bug in the firmware, or there was an update. We'd have to have the person send it back to us, do the flash update, or if we've seen them out in the trail, we could update them and send them on their merry way or whatever. So what we do now is we push it out over the air. So when they connect to their system with their app, that our stuff has Bluetooth built into it. If there's an update, it connects and say, "Hey, do you want to do the update? There's an update available." Boom, does it over there. We push it out. As a matter of fact, we're getting ready to push out another cool update that we just come out with, and people get notified on their phones and updates their phones. So there's a combination of a lot of cool technology we use, hardware wise, and mechanical stuff down to electronics.
So who's on the firmware side? Is that just somebody you have contracted doing all of the programming for you?
Yeah. So it's our same engineers that design the circuit boards for us, write our app and our firmware.
That's great. How convenient is that?
It's a great relationship. Yeah, these guys are so cool. They like our technology, and they never say no to anything I throw at.
So over the years, over the 16 years, you've developed products and stuff, and obviously there's been a lot of knockoffs.
Yeah.
Right. And you and I have had this conversation before, but about, good old, the original product versus the knockoff. Right.
Yeah.
And, and not to throw any other companies under the bus, but how has that experience been for you? Because it's got to be consistent. I can name a half dozen companies easily, or products out there that have taken your ideas and ran with them.
Oh yeah. And even down to verbiage verbatim, using something I wrote on my kitchen table 14 years ago, even grammatical errors, copy and paste it and put it on the boardroom and put it on their website. No, it in the beginning it used to bother us. It really did. It was upsetting. I'm just going, what do you? You're a small fledgling company. That wants to grow, and this happens to you. It doesn't bother us anymore. Now I could care less. If people want something inferior and cheap, that's what they're going to get regardless. The thing that really bothered us, I think more than anything, was when a Chinese company tried to register our trademark, the logo. Our logo. They were actually going to register our logo, our trademark. So we did have to go to battle for that, and we won. But the rest of it isn't worth it for us to go out and to fight these guys, because I'd rather put that money toward our engineering R&D and come up with something new than to spend $1 million to fight a company that's probably going to change their name and come out with it again. So I think the best thing is education. I think Corey talked about that before too, educating the consumers really, and how important it is to buy American made or do your homework, But yeah, it used to bother us. Now it's just like, what? It is what it is. What are you going to do?
Well, and that's a good point, that you guys made about educating. It's one thing to do it. We've had it happen where there's Chinese knockoffs coming out about our products, and you get out there and you promote it and you say, well, that's a piece of junk. And then, but you're charging too much money. I mean, some people just really look at things in a skewed way. And I've seen that as well. I came out before when there was some knockoffs happening, and I publicly praised sPOD and said, this is the product we support, only to get all this, well, that's too much, or they're knocking off, or, it's amazing how the consumer looks at things, and they are consumers and we have to respect them for what they're doing. But it's up to us to say, you can get something that's quality or you get something that's junk, how you spend your money is up to you.
Of course. And people have they're stuck in a paradigm. There's one thing they always fail to see is when you spend that money on something that's from overseas, it doesn't matter where it's from. Once that money's gone, you're never going to see it again. It's not going to come back to this economy. So yeah, you bought something that was for $80, but that $80, none of that is ever going to come back to this economy. Now you buy something for $300 here. Where's that money going to go? It's going to come right back into the small machine shop that a guy that golfs and has a kid in college. He's going to spend the money. A mold injection shop, sheet metal guy, that and donations to charities and Cal 4 Wheel, all that money comes right back to us, and including taxes. So people fail to see that. Yeah, they're saving a few bucks, but they fail to see what's going to happen with their kids and their grandkids in the future because of that. Right. Now, I'm not saying that we should stop importing at all. I mean, we need that. There's got to be some competition, but the intellectual property part of it is what's really bothering me. And
right. I don't know about you, but I have, we get the emails every once in a while from somebody, from China. Here's a list of products we have available for you, and it's if I was to print it out, it'd be like 50 pages of a PDF, and it's all these. Oh, there's Larry's products, and there's Gerald's products, and there's Jeremy's products, and it's like knockoffs of everybody we know in the industry, right?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and it's like, and it's not that they actually make them; they just take pictures of your site and send it out there, and they go, "Oh, sure, we'd like to buy a few of those," and they figure out how to make them.
Yeah,
but it is so blatant that they do that. We regularly have to go onto Alibaba, and I just do a search and have to send my cease and desist letter and data to them, like, stop using the images from our website and using our name. And
it's horrible.
So
and you're better off using those resources for something else, instead of
I could go wheeling or fishing or something with my time.
I mean, the whole thing is that we need to at least competition is good because that inspires us to be creative, right?
Right.
Competition. Somebody comes out with something cool, or something going to compete with me, I'm going to come up with a cool idea too. But to blatantly knock you off, it's like, come on,
lazy.
At least compete with me. I don't care. Come up with some cool design. Show me how cool you guys are. But that's all right. But I think people are starting to get educated. I think now,
Are you primarily direct to consumer, or do you go through distributors or what?
Yeah, especially during COVID. I don't know about you guys. We were doing a lot more online, direct to consumers. But yeah, we have our the standard WDs, probably like you guys have, and But yeah, we've been really busy with online sales during COVID, anyways.
That's good. That's good.
WDs are picking back up.
Yeah, WDs get gun shy around that time. They get gun shy when it comes to inventory purchases, and I think that's what's happening with a lot of the suppliers out there. When you have some of our friends who are only WD struggling because the WDs don't want to put those big inventory purchases in when they're not sure what the future is going to be like, because it's their job on the line. Yeah. Right. A little different than being a company owner where you're trying to make that inventory purchase because you want to keep your customers happy.
Yeah. You're right.
Interesting.
But it's all part of it, I guess, right?
Right.
It's old business, man.
Well, I was just looking at a couple of your products, and I gotta say, it's been a little while since I've been to the website and checked things out, but I'm blown away by the technology of basically something the size of 2 cell phones being the entire control module. Yeah. Like you said, the relays are gone. There's no huge big bricks underneath there on this large box of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a small box.
5 inches square. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 30 amps.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How many accessories can that connect up to in that?
Well, 30 amps a circuit, so 8
wow.
on the 8 circuit system, and we have a 6 circuit system too. So, and you can always double up as long as it doesn't exceed 30 amps. So whether you're powering a fan or lights or heated seats, refrigerator, water pumps, things like that. Anything, just cut off their relay, switch and fuse, throw it away, attach the positive to ground, start terminal block, and go.
That's cool.
That, the overland industry has just been the van, the Sprinter van industry is one of our fastest growing segments. And we've been involved in overland since the second Overland Expo, in Arizona. So
wow.
well inbred into that community. But it's kind of neat to watch it grow. But I'll tell you, the vans, the Sprinter van industry, man, it's just booming. That's like one of our fastest growing segments right now. Those guys are killing it.
Primarily to original owners or to people that are buying them and building them up and reselling them all overland. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. We know almost all the van builders in the country, and they're backlogged. They just can't keep up with it. They've got vans and vans and vans, and some of them can't even get vans too because of the
wow. That's crazy.
But you're right. Yeah, everything's gotten smaller. We still offer, rocker switches too. So it's at least we give people, variety, that they can choose from.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and didn't you have isn't it like Bluetooth cable with your phone? So
yeah.
So you have it's all Bluetooth cables, so you can actually set in programming with your phone and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you can remote control it with your phone.
Yeah.
So we started that trend about 10 years ago. We were probably the first ones to do that.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Clunky little wireless thing, and it worked. It was cool, but it was based on Wi-Fi and wireless. I know enough about wireless technology to get myself in trouble, but I know what I wanted at the time, and it worked. It was cool, but I just wasn't happy with it. So 6 months went by, and I just, I knew there had to be a way to do this via Bluetooth. And back then, Bluetooth, it was only available for your headsets and things like that. And there wasn't any, industrial use of Bluetooth at the time. And my engineer, I ended up resourcing out and finding that it could be done. And we developed the first Bluetooth, not Wi-Fi. After Wi-Fi, then we went to Bluetooth communications for the automotive industry. So we were using it with our switch controllers before anybody else was doing it. Yeah, it was kind of fun. And I know enough to get myself in trouble with wireless stuff. I know enough just to say, well, maybe somebody else could help me out here. And it's kind of fun because wireless stuff is, it gets pretty crazy. But and the wireless technology for us is not a substitute for a hardwired switch. I know there's companies out there that do make wireless switches, but trust me, I think in the automotive industry, you should have at least one hardwired controller. I don't care if you stash it under your seat in your glove box and then use your phone or however you want to do it, but you never know when your phone gets lost or doesn't update and stops working, your battery dies. So,
that never happens. No,
never.
No, like in the middle of a phone call and the battery dies, or it hasn't been charging, or the system doesn't work, or your Apple cable doesn't work because it got crimped too many times by the kids.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll calm down for a second.
All the time ask us, hey, can I just buy your system? Just use my phone to control it. You could do that, but we're not going to sell it to you that way because someday you're going to want to control that thing, and your phone's not going to be available. And it's just a supplement to it. It's and plus pushing our firmware out over the air. That's the main reason why. But and there's other areas where wireless is vital, like our Wi-Fi for our stuff around the offices and things like that. That's really important and to have it Wi-Fi. But in the automotive industry, I think when you're controlling accessories, I think you should have at least a hardwired controller.
So sPOD has been a leader and obviously you've been an innovator and bringing new things in, as you're talking about. Now I'm going to put you a little on the spot here just to handle a little controversy, because there was the whole thing about the controller, the little flat screen controller, right? There's been claims in the community, right? Well, you guys copied somebody else back and forth and back and forth. So what's the truth, John? What's the truth? What's the story?
We came out with our solid state system almost 6 years ago. That was the first solid state system out there. And the controller for that was our touchscreen controller. That was our touchscreen, the digital one with you could program it around the fly, you could push the buttons and control it. It was about 3 months later that we decided to build the push button style, which is similar to like what you're describing there. And that was about 3 months after that. So I'd say it was about 5 years ago. There was another company out there that was probably making something similar to it. I didn't even know it even existed. I just wanted a smaller push button. I wanted to give somebody a choice between the touchscreen or to have physical push buttons.
And
that was, you could probably go back and research it, but ours, you could even go back and use way back on our website and see that was about 5.5 years ago. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
And there's enough room for everybody in the industry. You know, it doesn't have to be, you know, if we just have one type of, switch control system out there, it'd be kind of boring. But no, I mean, I never even heard of the company before when I came out with my HD panel.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is you create things and great ideas are created and people do things. I mean, I still remember, my nephew coming to me and trying to prove to me that Samsung had the touchscreen phone before Apple did, only because they released it a couple months before, and yet Apple had been in development for 3 years. I mean, so who knows? But everybody goes down that path of we're first, and it's also a fan thing, right? I mean, you have fans. Yeah. I think we still today, every once in a while, I'll get a comment when I say that we're the first ones with the tube fender and a fully removable system.
I remember that.
Yeah, the very first one. And no, so-and-so was that. And one of our mutual friends, and it's one of our guys in the industry that we love so much. Yeah. I guess probably one of his employees was trying to debate me on it. And here's the fair heritage. Here's our heritage, right? So you first came with those. Yeah, everybody wants to get some sort of recognition, I guess, sometimes. Yeah. And fans are the biggest part. And we love our fans. We love everybody out there. But you said there's plenty of room out there. It's amazing how big this industry really is, and how many of all of us can benefit. And especially since you're going beyond it. I mean, I'm still limited to Jeeps, and I'm just now like doing Ram trucks. But you've got such a wide variety of vehicles that can use your product.
Find a Sprinter van, make something for it.
That's it. All right, Sprinter van, Patriot built products for the Sprinter van.
Go on with something.
So let's go back into history of Jeeps a little bit. You had your CJ, and then you evolved. And I would think when I met you, you had your JK, which was
my 2012.
Was that like the green Poison Spider built rig?
Yeah.
Do you still have that one, or is that gone?
What? I still have it. Yeah. Still drive it every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's still cranking. I need to, but yeah, that's going good. So I sold my Willys, and then in 2004, that's when I bought the TJ and had it for about 7 years. Cindy bought the 4-door JK in 2011. Then I bought the 2012 2-door, sold my TJ. And then 2018, we bought a JL 4-door, sold the yellow Jeep to my son. And then a year and a half later, we sold the JL to my son. He sold the yellow Jeep, and then we bought a Gladiator. So
nice.
Here we are with the Gladiator and a little 2-door JK.
Nice. So we need a little bit of our hot topic questions, a little fast up. So, favorite trail?
Back when I was younger, now.
Whatever first comes to mind. What's your favorite trail?
Like the Doozy or some trail. I mean, not
really.
I mean, it was not because it was a challenge. Because you're out there, you take your time and go 3 days and stop, fish, and camp. That was really cool in the earlier days. And now, I think I'm over all the real challenging stuff. I know I did it. It was fun doing it. And now I like to do more overlanding and just take my time, camp on the trail, and combine it with some rock crawling and stuff too. That's fun. I think I really like, I don't know, I like all the desert stuff in the Inyo Kern Valley. I just saw on the back of your thing showing Cerro Gordo. I saw it on your screen factor earlier.
Yeah.
And man, there's so much history and such cool stuff to see in that valley. It's unbelievable. So, and you get all the terrains. You can go to Desert Floor in Death Valley, or go up to Whitney Portal up in the forest and waterfalls. It's just in one day. So it's really cool. So yeah, I like to do Sierra on the Western Sierras, and what do you call it? Coyote Lakes and that area. And years ago, I did a Rubicon and things like that. But there's a lot of cool trails. And Moab's fun too, but it's just different. It's a great place to see. But I think my favorite now is just doing the desert stuff. Yeah.
Have you done much Sand Hollow?
No, years ago, yeah. When that was before they even called it Sand Hollow. We wheeled over there at some buddies of ours from our old group when we had our TJs. But I haven't been out there for any of the events though, which is kind of cool. They're moving from as far as Moab and bringing it closer to closer our way. Anyways.
Yeah, well, Corey and Jessy went out there. Jessy, this was your first time this year, right? Or was that your second time? Third time, 12th time?
Yeah, it's close enough that we can stop there. I mean, even after SEMA and stuff, we stopped there on the way back before. And yeah, like you said, John, it's close enough now. And it's because all the people that were leaving California moved to St. George. And so they want everybody to come see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, we lost a lot of Californians.
Yeah, so much so that we lost a congressional seat. Yeah, well, one less politician in California. Fantastic. All the other states, yes, they keep moving. Go out. Other people leave. All the good people are leaving. I want the good people to stay. The other way around.
Yeah, I just,
Okay, next question for you. Boom, boom. All right, so, this will be an interesting question for you. So, favorite mod under $500?
I think. Well, I still say onboard air.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think air compressors. Now, they could go above that, but I think air compressors is probably the best mod. It's so nice to have air, but yeah, I say air, and then of course suspension, of course, and bumpers. But to me, air for under $500.
There you go. There. And for you, next event people can find you at.
Well, it's the next event that we're going to be at is going to be Off-Road Expo and the not events, but these are more like vendor shows, but Send Sports Show and the Off-Road Expo, and then the last one for Cindy and I as employees will probably it's going to be Overland Expo in Flagstaff.
Oh wow,
fun one. Yeah,
that'll be the last time you'll be able to come over here. And so, are you going to be allowed to wear that bandana, or are you going to they have to make you retire that?
I got to change my attire. I don't know what I'm going to wear now.
Well, I just remember. I mean, even on Facebook for the longest time, when you finally started using your name, for the longest time was just sPOD guy.
I know.
There's sPOD guy.
Our mom and
sPOD guy.
Mom, dad, mom, pops. But as far as shows go, I think the Overland Expo is probably our favorite, and then the World Ag Expo in Tulare, the farm and equipment show. That's a great show for us. Yeah. Oh yeah, those farmers, man. Think about farmers. They have trucks, they have Jeeps, they're hunters, and also too, they're hands-on people. They know how to work on their vehicles. And when those kids and they come and visit you at your booth, they have intelligent questions. High school kids will be walking up there with their welding helmet, and saying if they're taking a weld shop, they know how to work on their vehicles. But the hospitality is unbelievable. And the technology there, the farm shows, is just crazy cool. Yeah, that's a really fun show for us.
That's awesome.
It's kind of cool to have a product where literally anybody that has a powered accessory, that's your market.
Oh yeah. That's right about that.
I don't know if you benefited from it or if you helped perpetuate, the whole light bar phenomena and multiple light phenomena, right? I think actually you're probably partly to blame for the fact that I can put eight giant lights on my rig with one,
Yeah, I think we benefited from that a lot. And that was funny because, when it all started out with, I think at the time it was Rigid was the only one we knew about, and I think Cindy had like the first 50-inch light bar to ever be out there in the world, and handed it to her, hey guys, here's our 50-inch light bar, and that was the thing. But I think it was back. I think now it's more like we're laying the foundation for the people to add these electrical accessories. Before it was like, man, how are we going to wire up all these damn lights that we're putting on? So what are we going to do? Oh, sPOD, So yeah, we benefited from that for sure.
Yeah, I had a funky little bracket on my TJ that was like, and it literally was a switch. It's not for the lights, but for the ARB compressor, right?
Yeah.
But it was a stupid little bracket that was cut out for two little switches that was perfectly placed to hit my shin when I didn't want it to, right? It's why? Because it was, that's just what the guy who built it installed it, and that's why it was just bad. But I remember like one of the first times I saw one of the big light bars, and it was I don't forget what event it was at. The guy who had it, and this is one of the big powerful ones, right? And I think it might have been Dave Cole way back when, but he like rotates it straight up, and he's driving around in his Toyota with the thing straight up, and it was like a beacon light.
Yep.
I mean, you could see that thing from miles away. There's just big giant beacon light pointing straight up. It was crazy.
Like who could put out the most lumens? This, so you can make the brightest light bar. Now it's all intelligent lighting. Now it's all well, in the higher end market, anyways, it's all smart lighting. It's all about the beams and angles and lenses.
Right.
Before it's just like, push out lumens, dude. How many lumens you got?
Well, and to the benefit of your new partners there at Baja Designs, and we're standing around and listening to them talk with racers and talking. But it was a new term I learned about, is outrunning your light.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And it was like, how the heck does that happen? Because I too am not an electrical engineer.
Yeah.
But just the fascinating ideas and the intelligence that Baja Designs had behind what they were developing in order to be able to do something. They weren't simply going and contracting with some Chinese company to make a light bar for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It actually was, like you said, intelligent lighting.
Well, something else that's important to remember is when it's an enthusiast designing the product, it makes a whole heck of a lot of difference. Go back to what you just told me about that switch and where it was located. You think an enthusiast designed that?
No.
I've never done that. So if you've got somebody who is really hitting the trails and out there with your compadres side by side on trails, you're going to design something that's going to work for you in that environment. So if you got somebody sitting behind a keyboard just pumping in models, and design stuff without any, enthusiast experience.
Well, we're all benefiting and fortunate the fact that that the engineer ultimately be responsible for the JL and the JT was an enthusiast. And we'll get him on the podcast here soon. But when Tony started talking about versus what was coming out by those who are simply engineers, it always surprised me when I'd hear about, Jeep's got a bunch of their engineers out. They're taking them through the Rubicon or something, right? And they're just doing it to say, dude, like, here's some reality about what you're dealing with, because these guys have no idea. They're out of college. They drive a little Ford Fiesta or something to work, whatever. I mean, they're not really enthusiasts, and yet you got to take these guys who are designing and building stuff. I remember being a kid and trying to work on my little Datsun B210, my first car, and like whoever designed that wasn't a mechanic, because there was no way to get the carburetor off, right? Without a screwdriver. It was just that. When you have people that really are designing that are enthusiasts, it does make a difference. It does make a difference.
Like you guys yourselves, you're designing your thing because these rigs. You guys hit the trails, so what you need. So that makes a huge difference,
Test on the Rubicon every day that I could.
Awesome. That's cool.
I had to put I could in there is because I haven't been on a while, but everybody knows that. That's just me. Yes. So, this has been awesome. This has been awesome. Details are going to come out, and at some point when you and I will sit around the bar and get some, and I'll get more details about how this whole thing went. But for anybody out there, just maybe a little bit of advice for them. For anybody out there, there's a lot of people that want to get in this industry, and we talk about it a bit, and you were able to kind of work your way in by coming with an idea, and also then have an exit point, which is incredible. What would you say to somebody who is a little entrepreneurial, wants to find their way into the industry and wants to try to do what you did?
Patience and perseverance. patience, patience. Start out slow, take baby steps. You're going to be rich in a year, and you're going to hit every market in the world. Just be patient. Stick to your guns. Don't let people tell you no, it can't be done. They tell you that. Work harder at making it happen. Make sure it does get done. Never give up, and just hold true to your values, and be honest with people. That's the most important thing you could do. And
absolutely,
be honest with your customers, and just keep chugging along, and keep making your product. If you think you've got an idea, don't be discouraged by people if they're going to take you down. If you think it could be done, do it. I've had that thrown at me many times.
Well, it's one thing you just said there that I've always thought of you. Be true to yourself, John. You've always been a genuine person. You've never been a BS artist. You've never tried to be a salesman. You've always been a very true, honest, fun person to be around. And that says a lot. I mean, there's a little bit of a motto that Modern Jeeper has, and it's don't be a dick. And it's too easy for that. There's too many of those already out there, and we all know them. Yeah. So you never have been, and that's always why the few times we've been able to get together, I've always enjoyed it, because you're a genuine person that really has. You and your family have just done incredible, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate knowing you.
Yeah, that's a joy about getting into this industry, is all the friends we accumulate over the years. Just unbelievable. Everybody in the industry has just been fun to work with. I mean, it's like we gained a whole new family. We've got an extended family. Mom and dad now for everybody.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Corey, anything else you want to add? Any last questions for our wonderful guests?
No, I think it's great to get John on. And I think that, like he just said, he hit the nail on the head. Now his family got bigger. And again, you can tell it's been something he's been passionate about for a long time. And to find that match, again, I tell everybody, what I do isn't work. When you enjoy it so much, it's not work. It's something you're passionate about, which is rare.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's one thing too. If you own your own business, be prepared to work 365, 24/7, right?
That's right.
Your phone, answering emails, so Sundays, be ready to work.
Yeah, the time of the day and the days of the week, those things went away a long time ago.
Yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Punching in a time clock and punching out. Yeah.
Yeah. There are no more holidays, especially when you're selling a product. There are no more holidays. It's all there. It's not unusual for people to get emails from me at 3:30 in the morning. And Aaron, my partner, keeps coming in here every once in a while. Did you really send that at 3:30 in the morning? Yeah, I was working.
I write them during the day and I schedule them.
That's right. That's the secret. The secret is to have scheduling software. All my work gets done. All my emails get sent out between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m.
That's awesome.
So, John, how can people find you, reach out to you, and find sPOD?
Well, you could either go directly to our website at 4x4spod.com, or check us out on our social media at 4x4spod on Instagram and Facebook. And you should be able to find it. I think we just did we did a personal press release yesterday, and the business did a press release, and then Baja Designs did a press release on social media yesterday. So
nice. Are you guys on TikTok yet?
My kids play with it a little bit. I'm not the company.
It just came up in a meeting today. Like, we need to have a TikTok account. We do a search, and apparently hashtag Metal Cloak, there's like 3,000 or something like that.
Oh, really?
There's this whole Metal Cloak community on TikTok that we have no idea about. Like, we haven't been serving and taking care of them.
That's cool. Girls can't.
I don't know that you can serve them through TikTok.
Serve.
I mean, you can.
Well, I've seen some interesting stuff on TikTok, so maybe you can.
In a roundabout way, you can.
Is service them better than serve them?
Ooh. Whoa. Go, Corey.
Oh, God.
Corey's here to service you.
Well, on that note, Modern Jeepers, since we've already had Corey's rants.
Corey's rants.
I think it's time for us to wrap up this another amazing episode. You know where to find us, ModernJeeperVentures.com, ModernJeeper.com, and you can also check us out at all over the Facebook and the internet. So you can reach me at Matson@metalcoat.com, Corey at metalcoat.com, and Jessy at metalcoat.com. Our next event is out at Tillamook. It is sold out, but we will keep eye on the website because this is the month. This is the month where we will be going live with both our hopefully our Colorado event and our Rubicon event. So keep an eye out there. There's a limited number of Rubicon spaces. I think it's 12 rigs total.
And it'll probably be the same for Colorado. So
yeah. So, and I know we have at least 30 guys that have expressed interest in Rubicon events. So it's going to be, once it's live, and it goes and it sells out. That's it. It's done.
Yep.
So for all of you out there, keep an eye, keep watching us, and we really, really appreciate you listening. Make sure to smash that like button down there and subscribe to our YouTube channel and share with on your favorite podcast listening. And if you're looking at this at wherever you're at, just leave your comments. We love listening. We love seeing the comments. We love following up. And with that, my friends, anything else to follow up with, Corey?
No, I think we're good. We'll see you at 80K.
80K, that's right. We look forward to hearing how that event went. And for all of you out in that region, go out there, support that event. It's always good to support new events, and because new events become the future events, and then we all talk about. You wanted to be there back when. With that being said, well, my friends, we and listeners and friends out there will just see you on the trails.
Cheers.
See ya.